Thank you for tuning in. This is going to be the very first episode of the Redacted podcast. This is all new to us. This is something we just started doing a few months ago and putting the set together, building all this out, the lighting, microphones, audio equipment, audio board. And it's just my wife and I doing this. And we're learning. I mean, we didn't know anything about podcasting or broadcasting or anything like that before. So it's new to us, and hopefully the show gets better over time. Hopefully it's good now, but we're striving to get better over time and improve what we do. But we really needed to do this show. We just felt it was something that was lacking in the podcast interview world. And, you know, we see it over and over again. I mean, I watch a lot of stuff. You see the same 100 or so people, you know, out of a country of 350 million people, you see the same 100 people telling the same stories over and over and over again, and they get to kind of have the monopoly on being the subject matter experts on stuff. So the point of this is that we could, one, have real people with real stories. You know, not the celebrity scientist and the, you know, that influencer and this influencer. We wanted to hear real stories. Also, we bring our guest on anonymously. So that does a couple things. It protects their reputation and their identity so that they can speak a little more freely, I guess, and be able to be more open about the particular subject that they're talking about. And these are stories we might not ordinarily hear if they had to put themselves publicly out there, share their identity. So it does that. And then the other part of it is they have nothing to gain from coming on here and interviewing besides the fact that they feel it's a story that they need to share, that it's something they would like to enlighten, you know, the viewers, the audience on, or something they want to get off their chest. So it offers that part of it because there's no motivation. There's no ulterior motive to it. They're just on here to share the story, and I think that's really cool. So our guest today is a crab fisherman from Alaska. He's been doing it for 30 years. When we get guests on, we don't necessarily vet or fact check or censor what they're going to say, but we do verify that they are who they say they are, basically. So, you know, we verified that he is a crab fisherman, and he has this experience, and he has basically the authority to speak about what he's going to tell us about today. So as you listen to the episode, it's a cool story, and I guess it's an old story, and part of the reason we even have this podcast, it's the big guy versus the little guy. And you'll see that as the story kind of unfolds, and you can draw your own conclusions on why things are the way they are, or why the crab season's been shut down for a couple years. And, you know, basically just listen and learn. And that's what we're here to do. So enjoy the episode, and thanks for tuning in. Okay, thanks for tuning into the Redacted podcast. We have our guest here today who's been so gracious to come under the guise of being anonymous. So he's got a hell of a story to tell. Really, really interesting. Behind the scenes back there, we got Pamela, who's been sworn to secrecy. She's not going to say who you are. I'm not going to say who you are. And we can talk freely. So how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Good.
So when you first kind of messaged us, you messaged us. So the idea is you've been a crab fisherman for a really long time.
Yes.
And the kind of headline or the subject line of your message caught me. It's like there's a problem with king crab and snow crab, and the government is basically messing with the numbers, and the market's being manipulated, the catch is being manipulated. And I felt that a little bit, like when I saw that, because I like to do low country boils, seafood boils, cooking king crab, like I love it. And the price has just gotten outrageous. Like, I don't know, has it tripled in the last?
Even more so. Yeah, you can pay in Fort Lauderdale at a couple of restaurants. They're paying $100 a leg.
Holy
A
cow.
leg.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So, but that's for those really upper crust kind of people over there.
Yeah.
But
not just me throwing it in a pot.
yeah, no, that's not us.
But that price is still just the market price of king crab is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, it's because we haven't had the fishery for the last couple years, and basically most of the crab is coming from Russia.
So, you were an Alaskan, so you were a crab fisherman in Alaska, and that's kind of your experience. How long have you been doing that?
Well, I moved up to Alaska in 1970 with my father. He was in the Air Force and graduated high school in 79 and started working on fishing boats and tugboats. And that led me into the king crab fishery and the snow crab fishery out of Dutch Harbor. I started that in like 87-ish.
Wow.
Right there, right in that neighborhood. And really liked it, enjoyed it, and made some amazingly good money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's like kind of like people might recognize like Deadliest Catch, and that's Dutch Harbor, isn't it?
Yes, correct. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. They do the Deadliest Catch there. That actually has, before that show came out, I would be in a bar drinking, and what do you do? And I'm like, oh, well, I work in Alaska, I catch crab. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Show comes out, same scenario. What do you do? Oh, well, I catch. Oh, like on the Deadliest Catch? Yep, like that.
You're a fucking celebrity.
And then here it comes. Are you on the show? I'm like, have you seen me on the show? So, no, I'm not on the show.
So you didn't end up on the show, but I remember just when I spoke with you on the phone beforehand, you mentioned something about like they kind of take the drama boats.
Correct.
For the show, and then but most of the fishermen are normal, good operating.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. As with, as with anything, if
it's entertaining.
It's entertaining. You got to have that aspect of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just a bunch of guys going out and catching crab with no problems isn't really entertaining.
No,
maybe.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So you'd see like the Discovery cruise and shit up there, like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know some of them.
Yeah.
Personally, yeah. And I have worked on a couple of the boats. I worked on one of the camera boats. But they don't, they want you to sign a release.
Okay.
Right? To work on the show.
Yeah.
I didn't want to sign it. So.
Okay.
If you're going to take pictures of me and stuff, you need to pay me. That's how I see it. So.
Fuck it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not right, Yeah. The owner gets the money. If you look at the boats, all the captains are owners of the boat.
Okay.
That's because they can make decisions right now about whatever's happening.
Okay.
Right? You don't have to call somebody right?
Yeah.
The owner gets a certain amount of money per season. Okay. And if he's a good owner, he'll kick down to the crew.
That's for the show money.
That's the show money.
Okay.
The crew gets like any other boat. They got their quota, they're fishing, and that's it.
Yeah.
They can get sponsors. If you notice over the years, they've all gotten maybe patches or they can do that. Right.
Like making their own little.
Trying to make their own money.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So, they dramatize a few things here and there, but as we stated, you got to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
You know, they're all pretty good guys.
Yeah. Well, and if anything, it brought awareness to your job.
Yeah, in
And
a
then
big way.
Well, in
Yeah.
a good thing. I mean, the awareness, I guess, is good. People know what you're doing, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
they understand it a little bit more.
Even like in Europe, same thing. Oh, what do? I fish king crab. Oh, like deadliest catch. Yep, like that. Yep. You know, there's some things they could do. Like one of the things I don't see is I had a group of boats I fished with, and so we would mess with each other
Yeah.
constantly.
Okay.
And they don't do that very much, right? Like, for instance, I'll haul your trap and tie a 20-foot piece of pipe on it with the line going through it. So when you put it in there and get it up, there's a pipe in your pots 20 feet down there in the water. You got to get the crane, and it's a whole deal.
Yeah. Fucks
Right?
you up a little.
Yeah.
Little prank.
Right. You haul the trap, you put the bridle on the other side,
Yeah.
you weld the door shut, put zip ties on it. You know, at nighttime, we'll drift. You're in the middle of the Bering Sea. So you just drift, everybody goes to sleep.
Yeah.
Aha. Go over and you'd throw mayonnaise and eggs and yogurt and, you know, whatever kind of old rotten food you got all on the boat. And
Just
then
chuck it up.
Yeah, and then take off. And they know it had to be one of the 5 boats, but they don't know which one,
Yeah.
right? So all that kind of stuff, you know.
Sounds like fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be the kind of job that, you know, it was a blast, your camaraderie with the guys. And, oh, we got some money too. All right.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
You know, that's how it was. And it's not like that now. It's totally changed. As with many industries throughout the United States, it's changed. You know, they're trying to do it for the money, and you can't do it for the money. You're going to go home after a short amount of time.
They're trying to run it like too corporate, maybe. Is that kind of what you're?
Well, I was talking more about individuals, like guys that come, like the young guys that want to work, you know, and come.
I gotcha.
And it's not, the money's only going to keep you there for a little while. You have to really
You gotta love it.
enjoy it to do it, because it's brutal.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. It's brutal.
You probably gotta love your crew too. Like that bonding.
Well, it takes a while to get it all figured out, right?
Yeah.
It's a sport team,
Yeah. Really.
right? It is.
Really.
It's the captain running with the guy on deck that's throwing the hook for the buoys. You know, you got to time it, you know, the way you stack the traps and coming back. It's all a whole effort by a team,
Yeah.
you know, and that drama, you don't want that.
No.
That's what you don't want,
Yeah.
right?
Unless you're on a TV show.
Unless you're on the TV show, right? But you know, you want smooth, easy, happy, good times, because you'll work 18, 20 hours a day, every day,
Jeez.
every day.
And for how long are you typically out? Like, is this for 3 weeks at a time, or 2 weeks, or a month?
Typically 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right in there. Back in the day, right? Now those guys are 10 days, 14 days. You know, fishing's good.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing well now. They just had another season. They let us fish king crab, 2.1 million pounds is what they allotted for the crab fleet this year,
Okay.
after being closed for the last 2 years.
Okay. We'll get to that. That's
Right. Yeah. So,
So they so before we get to that part, maybe for people that don't know, and I don't understand a whole lot about it, how does crab fishing just generally kind of work? I know you're putting traps down, but there's certain depths you're trying to put them at, and certain species you're trying to catch, and or not species, but you know, male, female crabs.
right.
There's juvenile crabs.
Yeah. So typically, like lobster, crab, all crab species,
Okay.
they will move up into the shallows near shore,
Okay.
and they will reproduce, and then they will shed their shell and get a new shell,
Okay.
right? And that's how they grow. Like a lot of people like the soft blue crab.
Okay.
I don't like it, but some people do, and that's what they're harvesting them at that time.
When they're shedding. So
When
they're harvesting
they
them shallow.
just shed it,
Okay.
right? They just shedded. They get the new shell, but inside the meat isn't. You're not solid yet,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it takes about a month or so right in there.
Yeah.
Once they feel they're good enough, then they start marching back to the deep
Okay.
where they actually live,
Okay.
right? And you're trying to figure out where they're at in that path, right? They do this in the summertime up
Okay.
in the shallows.
Okay.
And then towards the end of the summer, they start moving out.
Okay.
And we typically fish all that in the wintertime, all in Alaska.
So king crab season.
King crab, snow
wintertime.
crab, barredi. And that's because the meat fill of the crab is really good. There's no issue at all.
Okay.
I'm sure you've had a crab, you cracked into it and like, oh, there's not much in here.
Little hollow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? It didn't have enough time to grow out. So,
Okay.
and then so when you set all the traps, we typically use herring, ground herring, or sardines, or there's a few different things you can use. You also put a piece of hanging bait in there, like say a salmon head or some cod heads, or even a whole cod,
Okay.
and set them out. And then you'll do certain little patterns in the very beginning, haul them back, and then you'll see what you got, and then you start fishing.
Okay.
Right after you figure out what you see,
Okay.
in your gear. Like these over here are empty, and these here are better, but these here are really good. So
So we're gonna fish
so now I'm
more
going
right
to kind
here.
of concentrate right there in that area,
Okay.
right, and work on them. And then you put some feeler traps outside that, so if they break and run on you, you see which direction they ran,
Okay.
right? Because it's all about food source,
Yeah.
as any animal.
Yeah.
right?
They're chasing the food.
As long as the food's good, they're there. Food
Yeah.
runs out, they're looking. So, but where'd they go? They go north, they go south, they go deeper, they go shallower,
Yeah.
right? So you put out your feeler traps around, that gives you, nothing. Oh, right here to the east, they ran, so they're going that way. Now
Okay.
you can keep up with them,
Okay.
right? Get your gear in front of the movement, let them move through it until they find their new spot that they're going to settle down and work on this area,
Okay.
right? And so that's the basis of it, right? And then after you get situated, then you just haul gear, haul until the boat's full,
Yeah.
right? And then boat's full, everybody's happy, steaming in, everybody sleeps. There was a vessel one year, so typically it's probably at least a day, sometimes two, depending on where you're fishing, to get in to make a delivery,
Okay.
right? So, and now you've just worked all these long hours. Everybody's tired.
Yeah.
Might have been 2 weeks of some really hard work.
Yeah.
You're steaming in. So we had a vessel that they were steaming in. Everybody went to bed. Skipper was driving the boat in, and he went down to the freezer. He wanted to get a count on what bait was left so he could put his order in. So
Yeah.
when they delivered, right? So he went in the freezer to do this counting. Well, during the trip, the inside plunger to get out of had broken and nobody fixed it.
Okay.
The door closed behind him.
Oh shit.
Now he's stuck in the freezer. The boat is steaming towards Dutch Harbor.
Oof.
The crew has been awake for 2 weeks. They are in zombie sleep,
Oh shit.
right? They're sleep. Like
Uh-huh.
he banged and pounded. He wrapped plastic around himself with the food that was in there, and
Yeah.
all this stuff. And he heard the back hatch open and close. One of the guys decided to get up, and instead of going in the head, he went outside to take a pee on the back deck.
Okay.
And he heard it, and he started pounding, and the guy was like, what is that? What is that noise? And he figured, and he went over there and opened it up, and there was
The frozen skipper.
the frozen skipper. Yep. But it could have been over.
That could have been a very bad
Could
story.
have been over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny.
So,
it's
even-
funny that they got him though.
Yes. Yeah. At least he didn't.
It's a dangerous job. I mean,
Same boat. A few years later, sank. All hands lost. including him.
Jesus.
A few years, like 4 years after that.
That's horrible.
Great boat, great skipper, good crew, everything. Don't know what happened. Boat went down. I was on scene probably 5 hours. There was 3 other boats when I got there. There was nothing. There was no floating buoys. There was no oil slick. There was nothing. It just disappeared. And he gave the lat law to where he was, and we all came, but
Yeah.
there was nothing. I mean, it was gone. And this was a boat that was 160 feet,
Jeez.
right? It's not a small boat.
Just down.
Gone.
Wow.
He hailed, and one of the boats was there within an hour, and that everything was nothing.
Too late.
Not even the raft came up. Like we have rafts that, that deploy in an emergency. That didn't even come.
Jeez.
So, don't know what happened. Terrible. Yeah, it's very dangerous. It's gotten better because of the time frames, right? You don't have to take as much risk now, but it's definitely still dangerous. And it's even getting, I will say, a little more dangerous because the, excuse me, the older guys that work on deck, that know what's up, are getting out. And those are the ones that are teaching the young guys, oh, dude, don't stand right there.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Right? Don't do this. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you learn all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so it's getting worse because the old guys are getting out and the young guys don't know. And half of them don't even really want to work.
Really?
Yeah.
It seems like one of those jobs you almost don't have a choice. Like if you sign up to do that, you know that's going to be
Oh, there's guys that quit.
hard ass work.
Quit 2 days.
Really?
Quit.
Jesus.
So now, so a guy quits. All right.
Yeah.
So I say, okay. So we put 12,000 pounds on the boat so far of crab.
Okay.
So this is you. You're getting your crew share of 12,000 pounds.
Okay.
You're going to your room, right? Your stateroom, and that's where you will stay.
Okay. Don't want to work.
You don't want to work.
We're not going
right?
back. You're still on
I'm not going in. That's not going to happen.
No, you're still on the fucking boat.
Right. We're making money. I can't go in. That costs money. I had to spend a bunch of money just to get out here.
Yeah.
Right. So no. So you're in your room. I usually leave you in there for the day. The next day I'll come and say, all right, here's the deal. You can either stay in here or
Okay.
or you can cook for the guys and you can do some stuff and you can get out of your room.
Yeah.
By law, I can keep you in there. You quit.
Yeah.
So, right? So they usually, okay, and they'll at least cook.
Okay.
I've never had nobody just say no and
I'm
stay
just
in
going
the
to
room.
stay in my room all by myself.
And I've had some extremely, I'll say, tough guys that thought they were bad. And they probably were. Whatever streets they lived on, whatever they came from, they probably were badasses.
Yeah.
Okay? But this is a completely different game.
Yeah.
It's mental. It's physical. It's super, super hard. I mean, it's 18 hours of physical labor every single day.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Well, there's different kinds of tough. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like, I mean, you hit that well, and we had that when I was in the military. You had guys that were, you know, tough in their neighborhood or tough in sports, but then you get into these high stress, very dangerous situations, and I've seen dudes just crumble.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
people you wouldn't expect.
Yep.
Like, oh man, you know, this guy kind of walks the walk, you know, or it seems, and talks the talk, but does he really have what it takes? And those environments, I mean, that's got to be similar to the military, being on a boat like
yes.
that, where it's high stress and it's your team
And you're dependent on other people. You can't do it by yourself.
for your life.
Yes.
Not only for success, not only
Yes.
for making money, but that's, I mean, your fucking life is on the line.
I tell new guys all the time, pay attention. There might be a moment that you tell this guy that's been doing it for 15 years, hey, look out.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
That's what's going on out there.
Yeah.
It's you against Mother Nature.
Yeah.
It's a boat. You're in 30-foot seas. A crab pot weighs 1,500 pounds. So you put that on the end of a crane, right?
Just the physics of that
Yeah.
that
And
mass just swinging around.
Yeah. So the crane, so you have to, when you're running the crane, the brakes they'll stop it, but it's going to go 10 feet further
Yeah.
before it catches
Yeah.
because of the roll of the boat.
Yep.
So you have to stop on the right roll to get it to stop,
Jeez.
right? It's all a big timing thing. I loved it. I thought it was great. I was good at it. I enjoyed it. You know,
Like an adrenaline thing in a way?
absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff. Like when you get all the pots on the boat or traps on the boat, you got to chain them down. Well, some of the boats, they hang over the side of the boat by 2 feet.
I've seen that.
So you got to climb down the side of the traps. And if you fall, you're right in.
You're in the drink, man.
You're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fell in February fishing opies in the Bering Sea.
Oh, jeez.
I fell over the side of the boat.
That just sounds cold as fuck.
It was. I went in, flipped up, looked up at the boat, and the first thing I said is, wow, this is really big. And then I said, I'm drifting away. And then I said, there's like not really anything to grab onto. Huh? I never thought about it, right? Never thought about that. But I'm in the water. So as this is all going through my head, my partner is on deck and he's got a face mask and he rips the face mask off and he looks at me and he goes, "You're in the water. Like, what are you doing?" Right? And then he reacted and they sent the hook down and I got right back on the boat. So luckily.
That just sounds so like subtle. Like your reaction, his reaction.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like you'd be like freaking out, like, oh, fuck, I'm off the boat. But you're just like, man, this is a big boat.
you got to stay calm,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I've been on probably, well, let's see, 3 fires and 4 sinkings,
Okay.
all saved, all managed to make it. I've only been on 1 boat that sank on me.
It's a pretty good record.
Pretty good record, right? But it's about being calm and guys that you think you can count on.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew one of the guys that worked with me. He was one of those halo guys, the high altitude, low entry guys.
Yeah.
Those are some crazy gentlemen
That's
right there.
That's crazy shit.
That's a
man.
crazy gentleman,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Solid worker, solid deckhand, great guy. He was on a boat. We had an emergency, frozen like a statue. Him and another guy, like a statue.
Jeez.
I fixed what we had going on. It was a steering thing and a pump thing filling up a tank. Anyway, got it fixed. I got done. I'm like, so what's up?
What the fuck happened, man?
Is the raft ready? Do we got blankets, flashlights, food, water? Are we ready to get off if we have to?
Yeah.
No. Okay. So what do you think?
So you froze up.
Maybe next time? I hope.
Yeah.
The one guy, different boat, 2 years later, was the hero of the boat. He reacted, took control, made it happen. Boat completely sank, went down, flipped upside down. The line from the life raft started wrapping up in the propeller because the boat was still in gear, motor running.
Yeah.
Right? There's supposed to be, it's called a painter knife in the raft, and you're able to cut free.
Yeah.
It wasn't in there. He chewed through the line and broke a tooth.
No shit.
Yep. 1/2-inch line.
Holy
Chewed through that
fuck.
like a rat, right?
Holy fuck.
But got it done.
Saved-
Yeah,
that
because it
saved
was
lives.
winding him up into the propeller. Like, well, boom, boom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But he made it happen.
Jeez.
But some guys you can count on, some you can't. I've always had a very calm demeanor about me in all these different situations I've been in.
Yeah.
I just have a knack for it, however, right? Thank God. But it's
I don't think you could do it otherwise.
absolutely not.
It would
No.
it would stress you the fuck out.
Yes.
Like if you're high strung.
Well, just being out there,
Yeah.
right? You could let your mind run wild with what if.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 300 miles offshore. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Freezing
It's
cold
you
water.
against the elements,
Yeah.
you know? And as a young person, bring it. let's do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got off on it. Yeah, I did it again. You know?
It's confidence.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, of
I know
course
the
you have.
feeling. I know
Yeah.
the feeling. So, and I think part of what people miss maybe a little bit is, you know, you're out there, you're doing a job. It's dangerous as fuck. But, I mean, you're feeding people. This is putting food in people's mouths. And not only from what you're fishing, but, I mean, there's small businesses. There's people feeding their families off of this that have been, and this is a way for them to make money. I mean, it's something that's very important. I mean, we look at it as, you know, maybe from the outside when we don't think about it, but like kind of like a farmer or something. Like this
Yeah,
is
it's the
food.
same.
This is food people need.
Same scenario.
Yeah, and without people who are fishing, raising livestock, raising crops, I mean, we'd fucking starve.
We're in a world of hurt.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people to feed.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why you have all aquaculture coming on strong. You know, you've got mass production farms here already with pigs and cattle and chicken,
Yep.
and they can't even keep up.
Yep.
You know, that was the whole 8 billion people in the world mark. And it's, in my opinion, it's because at 8 billion, you are maintaining your food. Your food can't really grow any more than it already is. It's maxed out.
Yeah.
But people are going to, so now you're going to go the other way, right? You're going to get more people and less food.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to fix that. They say by 2035 that half of the seafood will be derived from fish farms,
Wow.
right? So
Jeez.
it's a big, it's coming, right?
I mean,
But
people got to survive.
you got to survive.
So, kind of then on that note, and I mean, kind of the antithesis of what we're talking about here. What is the government doing with the snow crab and the king crab? I mean, considering that, you know, people need this food, people need this money, it's livelihoods. It's not only the people working on the boats, there's a lot of ancillary industries. There's a lot of ancillary small businesses, distributors. I mean, there's people all the way down the line making money. So what was kind of your experience and your story from the beginning with how they're messing with basically the fishery?
So, so it's kind of like Blank Mart coming into a town
Okay.
and forcing out Blank Mart, right? Coming in and forcing all the mom and pops out because they can't compete.
Yeah.
In Alaska, you have Wendy's, McDonald's. They all got boats, but they're not their boats, but they provide those fish sandwiches that everybody likes to eat. They're made right on board the boat.
Sure.
You're talking a 350-foot boat. It's got 50, 60 people on it.
Yeah.
And it's a big factory, and it pumps out them fillets,
Yeah.
right? They are the real providers of the food,
Okay.
right? Because of the amount that they provide. I mean,
Yeah.
they put some numbers in.
And that's like your pollock, your whitefish.
Yes, right.
That's what they're getting.
And that's the trawl fleet, the guys that drag the nets behind the boat.
Okay.
So those fisheries are the ones that really rule the whole fishery and how everything goes. And what I mean by that is when they drag their net and they catch a bunch of other stuff besides pollock,
Yeah.
right? It's called bycatch.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
The problem with it is it comes up all dead because it's been pulled through the ocean and the fish are backwards and they're all dead. So
Yeah.
you got to give it all back to the earth, right?
Okay.
They have lobbyists in the United States of America in Washington, D.C. that say, hey, we need this and this for these boats to operate, meaning they want quota. They want bycatch quota, right?
They want it to be increased.
They want it to be increased so that they can still operate.
What happens when they reach their bycatch quota?
They have to quit.
Okay.
They can't be out there anymore.
So this keeps them on the water longer.
That keeps them on the water.
The machine, it keeps the
machine turning.
running. Okay.
Correct, right? So now they're given the bycatch numbers. Each year, the fisheries will do king crab.
Okay.
The king crab fishery, they come and they say, okay, we're going to do a survey. They're going to hire 2 boats to go out and survey the stocks.
Who's doing the survey?
This would be NOAA, National Marine Fisheries.
Okay.
Right? Government entities.
Okay.
Right? That govern those fisheries.
Yeah.
Right? So they're going to come and they're going to do a survey. Now, I question why they do the survey. And the reason I question it is because a vast majority of all the boats in Alaska, commercial fishing, the hook boats, meaning the longline boats, the trap boats for crab, and the trawlers all have an observer on board from the federal government. Okay?
Like a NOAA observer.
A NOAA observer on the boat to collect data about what you're doing. Right? That's what they're on the boat for. On the big boats, they have 2 of them.
Jeez.
Right? So there's 24 hours. They monitor each other, but they collect all this data about what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
Like or a king crab boat that say, okay, the next trap that comes up, I want to survey it. So we'll stack it in the corner and they'll open it up and they'll go through the whole thing, measure it all, everything, right? And then they stand there the rest of the time and they look and, you know, they write stuff down about what we're doing, all this information.
And they're marking where you're at, your location.
Yes, they have to have full access to that. Yes. Right?
Okay.
And some of them don't understand how that even works, right? Like lat lawn.
Yeah.
But okay. But so they get all this data and they send it in.
Okay.
That's quite a bunch of data every year.
Every fucking boat in
every
Alaska.
season, right? Not every boat.
Well,
it's like 80% or so.
That's
right?
a lot of boats.
You also have to be a marine biologist to be an observer.
Okay.
Right? So you got a degree that you actually know what you're looking at. Okay.
A lot of these people have to be like fresh out of college, though. I feel
Absolutely. Going to save the world.
Because that's that's a hard job for someone maybe older with a family and kids if you're gone and out a lot. Not saying it's
Right.
not, but I see a lot of young people
Well,
being kind of taking to that kind of job.
I think what happened is because they're on the boat and they're part of your crew, you talk to them, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What happened with a lot of them that I've met, man, marine biology, that sounds like a really cool job. I want to do that.
Yeah.
They get the degree, and when you get out of school, there's no jobs for a marine biologist. Who hires marine biologist? Where's that at? Right?
Fishing boats in Alaska. That's
So
who
they
hires them.
created, in my opinion, a way to employ all these young men and women,
Okay.
right, and give them a job, which is great. But the boat has to pay for it. I have to pay $400 a day for them to be on the boat.
Jeez.
I have to pay for my own policeman. Okay?
Leave it up to the government to come up
Right.
with something like that.
So now we got all this data every year, going back like 15 years or something like that. Okay?
So that would make sense. You paid, or I mean, in an indirect way, the consumer paid for this data,
Right.
and
And
they're not using it.
no. Well, I can only assume because I'm not in their,
Yeah.
arena, but they come along now every year and say, okay, well, we need to do an actual survey of the crab. Okay. We want to hire a couple of crab boats and we want to go out there and, see for ourselves what's going on.
So they're going to hire you off season
Yep.
to take them out with like a small crew
Yep.
and just drop them in some spots, drop some traps,
Yes. So they get on the boat, and we get them all squared away and everything.
Are these different NOAA guys than the ones that are typically on board?
Yes, these are actual scientists, not
From
observers. From NOAA.
From NOAA.
National
So these
Marine
are
Fisheries.
older, maybe more experienced,
Knowledgeable. Yes.
been doing it years and years with the
Yes.
agency. So they're bringing out, these are the big dogs.
Correct.
And they want to come out, do the survey. They hire somebody like you in your boat to take them out. And then what happens?
So they get on board. We get them squared away. I know generally where they're going to go. We untie. We leave. I'm like, okay, where you guys want to go?
What year is this, by the way?
For me personally, I did that
This
like
specific one. Yeah.
like in 94, 95.
Okay.
I did Opie survey.
Okay.
Okay. Snow crab.
Okay.
Okay. And they give you the paper where we're going to go.
Okay.
Right. The lat lawn and everything. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Let's get it up on the plotter, see where we're going. Get it up there, put the information in. I'm like, oh man, wow. That's not a good area at all. There's nothing there. Why are we going to go there? Hey, you guys, come up here. Let me show you something. They come up like, this is the plotter. This is the fishing grounds right here, right? You guys want to go here. There's nothing there. I know I'm a fisherman,
Yeah.
right? And nothing there. We need to go over here. This is where the crab are over here. Well, no, we need to go there. Well, that's a waste of time. Let's call somebody. Let's get your boss on the phone or whoever.
Yeah.
Nope. They won't even do that. They won't. They will not vary from what they were told to do. So we head out. We set all
and
the
they're
traps.
paying. They're paying for
They're
you
paying
to
for it.
take you out, so you're going to go where they want to go ultimately at the end of the day.
Correct. Because they don't want any input from fishermen, myself, that do it for a living,
Yeah.
right? 2 weeks. We're going to do this for 2 weeks. I've been out before on a 3-week trip that I didn't catch one crab for 3 weeks. And I do it for a living,
Okay. Yeah.
right? But you're a scientist, you know right where to go and what to do. You should be a fisherman, really, then, if you know.
Yeah. Right.
If you know where they're at,
Okay.
right? So we go out, we set them like they want, we haul them back, and guess what? Nothing in them. Oh, man.
Surprise, surprise.
Fishery's crashing. Oh, man. What are we going to do? Well, we should probably close it. For the crab fishermen,
Okay.
we'll close it. We're not
No.
going to close it for those trawler guys.
Yeah.
We're actually going to let them catch a little more.
Well, they have the lobbyist.
They have the lobbyists, right?
Yeah.
They're the real meat and potatoes of the fishing industry, where the real food is produced. Like crab, for instance, that's a high-end food. Your average person doesn't eat that.
But
You
you're
know.
feeding people.
But you're still feeding
you're
people.
contributing.
The snow crab, however, every time you went to a Chinese buffet anywhere here in the United States, that's snow crab,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that's the other one. That's closed still now. They're saying they disappeared.
The snow crab disappeared?
Yeah, they're saying they're gone. They don't even know where they're at. How can that be? What
But
do you
they're
mean?
there.
They're there.
Yeah.
They again increased the bycatch limit for the trawl fleet. They got more snow crab to catch. So obviously they're dragging up snow crab off the bottom, wherever they're at. Again, you got an observer on that boat that's given the information back to the agency that, hey, these guys need more bycatch quota or we're going to get shut down.
So they're saying that there's no snow crab.
Correct.
And at the same time, they're pulling up a shit ton of snow crab. So much so that they need their bycatch quota increased.
Correct.
So there is snow crab.
Correct.
Lots of them.
Correct.
Probably more.
Probably.
Why?
That's a great question. Why?
Yeah.
A great question.
Well, the little guy is, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
probably
There
answer
is-
number one. Fuck the little guy.
Absolutely.
The big corporation with the lobbyist.
Yeah. Well, the more
big
you
ships.
force the little guy out, right, as within blank mart, right?
Yeah.
Same up there. The more you force the more the corporate boats get control. and they get more quota,
Okay.
right? The whole thing's based on quota.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their amount they're allowed to catch,
Yeah.
right?
Which you need some regulation on it. I
Right.
mean, it's
Well,
a good thing.
they did that to help. Well, the first thing they did was they bought out whoever wanted to be bought out in the crab fishing industry. The government said, "Hey, if you want out, we'll buy your boat. We'll give you top market value. You can still keep your boat. We'll buy it, but you can still keep it. But it can never be in any fishery in the world." That was one of the stipulations they made.
What the hell are you going to do with the boat?
You research,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you could do, there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
They're awesome boats.
Yeah.
It was stupid. They should say you can't crab fish with it, but you could do anything else because they're amazing boats, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, that was the first thing they did. So some of the guys got out, you know, and they reduced it down, and it still wasn't enough. So then they said, okay, well, we're going to do quotas now, right? We'll do quotas.
Yeah.
So when they did the quotas, they gave it to owners and they gave it to captains and they even gave deckhand shares.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it seemed pretty fair. But the captains and the deckhands got a pittance of quota, right? Enough so that you can't fish it on your own. You have to pair it with somebody else because of all the expenses involved,
Yeah.
right? So now what happened is the owners that own the boat got quota. Oh, wow. Hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lease the quota to myself. Ooh, I like that. I own a quota and I own the boat. But the boat can't fish without my quota. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lease the quota to my own boat and take 60% off the top of the catch for myself.
Jeez.
Right? That's what happened
It's a lot of shit going on.
with the whole quota system, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it didn't help.
Yeah.
It was supposed to help also with safety because before the Olympic system, go catch it, yeehaw, and
Yeah.
bad weather. Well, now they said, okay, well, we'll do this and you can do, sounds good. The fish houses turn around and say, okay, we're not taking any crab past this date. So you got to go out and get it in here. So
Okay.
it didn't accomplish what they wanted, right? It's
No.
still not, you're still fishing weather
Yep.
to get it done because they're not going to buy it after that date
Yeah.
because they're going to retool their factory and start doing codfish, or they're not going to do crab anymore,
Well, it makes sense.
right?
And it's one of those things that, it sounds like a good idea, but if anyone actually thought it through, and I mean, just in general, the quota system or conservation of the
Right.
fisheries, like it sounds like to the layman, that sounds like something that makes sense. It's like, okay, well, we want to keep the fishery healthy.
Right.
We want to help people keep their jobs. We want people to make money. We want to bring in food. And, seems like a win-win for everybody. But when you hear things like there's no crab, increasing the bycatch, I mean, that's crazy because these big ships, the trawlers, bring in this bycatch.
No,
They're just chucking it.
they're just chucking it
Yeah, but I mean, it comes in or it gets in their
up
net,
onto the boat. Yep.
and this just gets chucked.
Right back over.
Nobody uses it. Nobody
Nothing.
eats. The animal's dead.
Correct. It's just an entire waste, like major waste.
Yeah.
We're talking millions and millions of pounds of waste. The only way I've ever come up to fix it is, let's say you own one of the boats.
Yeah.
We're going to take your last 10 years of history, and in the last 10 years, you made $50 million a year with that boat.
Okay.
Okay? So that's your number.
Okay.
You're going to leave, and you're going to keep every single thing you catch, and you're going to process it on your boat. And when you reach $50 million, you're done. Come in and tie up. It's over.
That's kind of a common sense approach.
It gets them out and back,
Yeah.
right?
And
They're
then you're
still-
not wasting.
Then you're not wasting. You're not destroying the fisheries,
Yeah.
right? Because the way modern fishery is, not just with us here in the United States, but worldwide, it's pounded on constantly. And I mean constantly, with the exception of when whatever species you're doing spawns, There's no fishing at that little time right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But the rest of the time, right? I talked to these guys in Alaska that went up to some of the, like Nome and Kotzebue, up where the villages are,
Yeah.
and they did core samples of outhouses, right? You know, because that's what they got up there. You got an outhouse,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So they did core samples of that, and they went like back 100 years or some shit. And what they found is okay, this tribe right now, or whoever's using this outlet,
Yeah.
they've been eating halibut like for 2 years.
Okay.
Now that's done. Now we're going to do codfish. No halibut anymore at all. None. All codfish. Okay, that's done. Now they switched to redfish. Now they switched to crab. They had all these layers of how the natives ran their system.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
because they just go right there. They don't go away.
Yeah, they're not going far.
It's just right there. But if you overfish it and then switch, then you eliminate all of it eventually. So they had it figured out. They gave it time to rest.
Some rotation.
Yes,
Yeah.
like rotating crops,
Yeah.
so to speak, right? Which the big farmers don't do anymore either. So,
Yeah.
you know, give them pesticides and all that fertilizer. But same concept, right?
Yeah.
But that's what's going on worldwide. The fisheries are being pounded. You have technology now. You have machines now that'll tell you what fish it is. Not just that there's some fish on the screen. Yeah, that's pollock, that's cod. It tells you.
So you're scanning
Yeah, the machine is
from the surface, and you can tell exactly what's
yeah.
there.
You know, before it was just colors, you know, red and like this, and you can see the fish, right? But you don't really know
Okay.
what they are,
Yeah.
right? But now they have technology that tells you what they are,
Jeez.
right? And that's what's going on. The technology
Well, we
is,
should be able to use that.
yeah, yeah.
That should make things exponentially better, but it doesn't seem, because you're also fighting with this bureaucracy.
Yep.
There's a bureaucracy to it. There's lobby money to it. And instead of using these things in a good way to help the fishery, to feed people, to keep the jobs up, and to protect and conserve, you know, just kind of going by the wayside.
Yes.
And almost like arbitrary policies that
Yes. Yep.
don't work. So specifically with the king crab, they shut the season down. What was it?
It's been this would have been the third year, and they let us fish this year. The prior 2 years, no, completely closed
No king crab
at all
in Alaskan waters?
in Alaskan waters. Correct.
Okay. Zero.
Zero.
Wow.
Absolutely none. And you know that affects some of the boats. Some of the boats, all they do is crabfish. That's it. They don't do other fisheries. You know, back in the 80s and early 90s, you could switch from one to another and all that, right?
Yeah.
But you got to have all the proper permits now and all that, right? They make it next to impossible to
To be able to switch and to be flexible. Yeah.
really to make your operation survive. They make it difficult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They impose these rules, these regulations. You know, the observers at $400. Not just that, they want full internet access to do their reporting that they don't use. Okay, that's about $3,000 a month to have satellite internet, right?
Jeez.
All the guys, crew's happy because they're all online now doing stuff, right? But that's a whole extra expense
Yeah.
on top of everything else.
These
And-
are small businesses.
yes,
I mean,
yeah,
crab boats are.
yeah, crab boat, you bet. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and the fuel's going up, bait goes up, food goes up, right?
Yeah.
The price you get for your product has pretty much maintained. It hasn't gone up, it hasn't gone down, but it just kind of stayed. I mean, we got for the last 7 years, 53 cents a pound for codfish,
Okay.
like across the board. That never went up, still hasn't gone up. But we're paying, where we paid 45, now you're paying 90 cents for bait.
Yeah.
And you know all about fuel,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of expensive in Alaska,
Oh, yeah.
right? Yeah. Even though it should be maybe a little cheaper. We got a lot of refineries up there and oil.
That's a whole nother can of worms.
That's a whole,
right there.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Seems a little fishy.
Right. Yeah, to say the least.
So, in your experience fishing, and I guess the point of this or the future of this is, how does that kind of look? And for people that aren't involved in the industry and don't know a lot about the industry, it's important. I mean, it affects everyone at some point. I mean, just farming, fishing, gathering food, getting the food that we eat. What does the future look like, and what are maybe some common sense things just from your experience that could make this, better for the environment, but also profitable and productive?
Well, I hate to say it, but they got to get control of the trawlers, because the trawlers with the bycatch, right? And also, how it works is they drag a net behind the boat, right? But they drag these big pieces of steel in front of the net.
Okay.
Because that's what guides the net. They're big rectangle pieces. They're kind of curved, and they're always trying to go out, which opens the net, right?
Yeah.
So you can control that. So one of the tricks worldwide is they will run the doors. Those are called doors, those big steel pieces.
Yeah.
They will run those down into the bottom ocean floor,
Yeah.
right?
Just
Even
tearing
though
up
they're
the-
not supposed to be doing that.
Just tearing up the bottom.
Right. And the reason they do it is because when you drag the doors through the bottom sediment, it stirs it up.
Yeah.
And now the fish are confused and don't know which way to run, and they get a better chance of getting them in their net,
Yeah.
right?
It's more productive to them.
More productive for them, right? But they are absolutely destroying the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Because all of the creatures that live on the bottom are around some kind of structure, meaning rocks, coral, right? Shipwrecks, whatever.
That's where everything lives.
Yeah.
I mean, most stuff in the ocean
Correct, right?
lives on the bottom.
Not much stuff here lives in the desert, right?
Exactly.
All the animals live in the forest and
Yeah.
the good areas.
Yeah.
Same on the ocean floor. Same
Structure.
thing.
Structure. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So they're driving around destroying the structure because that's where all the fish are,
Okay.
or the crab, or whatever you're trying to go for. Right. So they need to get them under control, which is going to be a difficult task because they have power.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have power, and it's just getting worse and worse with the amount. They just built another 385-foot ship, brand new one for Alaska,
Jeez.
right? Yeah.
Trawler.
Yeah, trawler. Yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Some of those guys, half a mile wide, the net. The opening is half mile, right? Yeah.
It's just gobbling up everything.
Everything, right? But there are guys that don't, and there are good trawler men for sure,
Yeah.
right? That are true mid-water trawler guys. There are good and everything, right?
Yeah.
But if you're out there and you've been doing it 2 weeks and you're not catching too much, then you're going to change your tactic because you need to make money.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. So if you need to put the doors in the mud to make that happen, to put fish on the boat, you're going to do that.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Well, and it's like, kind of like you said, they're focusing so much on controlling all of these other small things with arbitrary regulations, but then they're not looking at the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, they're not.
And I mean,
No.
they have the ability to do it,
Yes.
but it's just like, once again, bureaucracy, arbitrary things that we're looking at here. They just don't give a fuck about. I mean, you'd think they would. That's the sales pitch. They don't give a fuck about the environment. At the end of the day, it almost seems like that. It seems like, because if they're going to let the trawlers do whatever the hell they want and then go after the little crab fishermen. They don't give a fuck.
Right. Well, they know they can't go after the trawlers will sue them. They'll lawyer up, right? Some guy that owns a crab boat that's barely making it, he can't lawyer up.
Yeah.
He's broke.
He's just going to give in.
He's going to give in. He's got no choice. You can't fight that.
Beaten up. And the crab boats are probably not doing anywhere near the... I mean, is there a lot of bycatch with crab?
No. Codfish. That's about it.
Yeah.
You know, no, it's probably one of the cleanest fisheries in the world because of how it's done in the trap, right?
Alaskan crab fishing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you do long line, I don't care where you long line anywhere in the world. If you put out 750,000 hooks, but you're targeting swordfish, well, I'm pretty sure you're going to catch a bunch of other stuff too.
Yeah.
There's just no way around it, right? And but a vast majority of the fish you catch, they're alive. You're able to dehook them and let them survive.
Yeah.
Some are dead, but the vast majority. But the trawl fishing, the way the trawl comes through the water and the fish all get stuffed in there one after the other into a net, they can't even move.
Yeah.
And the only way a fish survives is for water to go in the mouth and out the gills.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're backwards in there, you're done. Or sideways or any of that. You're done.
Absolutely.
And, and they bring it all up on deck. And then they got, they're called pews. They're like a broom handle with a steel pick on the end of it.
Yeah.
And they just flick off the stuff they don't want, shovel in the holes what they do want. That's it.
Man.
Yep.
There's a lot going on there too. And I don't think people see it.
No,
And
absolutely.
it's like, I don't know what the name of that documentary is. There's a documentary where they're talking about ocean plastics and ocean litter.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, we're doing stuff like paper straws, which is, what did they say? It was a 1,000%
Right.
of what they find in this. What did they call that thing? The Pacific.
Yeah, the garbage patch.
The Pacific garbage patch.
Yeah.
They got this thing out there. It's filled up with just about everything else besides plastic straws.
Correct.
So, in these, I know a lot of countries in Asia are just dumping garbage.
Yeah. We still do it here, New York City.
Yeah.
All that. They take barges out and dump it.
Just right into the ocean.
Yeah. Still today, it's being done.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here we are with
Number
paper
one,
straws.
so people are like, I've worked more than half my life on the water, right?
Yeah.
Been out there. And people are like, well, what is the most prolific garbage you see? Number one, Mylar balloons.
Really?
Number one. And I don't know if it's because they're flashy.
Yeah.
And you can really, wow, what is that?
Yeah.
Because when you're out there, that's what you do. You're like going somewhere. Ooh, what's that? Let's go see. Right. Yeah. So you cruise over there, and it's those balloons are by far the most trash I see.
Well, those things are fucking indestructible too.
Right. And 99, they just let them go.
Like birthday balloons and shit.
Yeah. Birthday, anniversary, all that. Right.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. That's the number one, even more than plastic bottles.
Really?
Yep.
Just a ton of fucking Mylar balloons.
Yes. But by and large, in all of my travels everywhere, it's like, there's a little bit of garbage and then nothing for miles and miles. And then there's something.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Great Pacific garbage patch. I've been where they say it is, and I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not out there, but I didn't see it.
Okay.
So, I don't know. But they're obviously doing good, and I hope they keep up that good work. It definitely needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and I mean, fishermen, when you're talking about the water, I think in just even my fishing, my own recreational fishing, and talking with fishermen and commercial fishermen, like some of the best stewards of the environment are the fishermen, or if you're talking about hunting, it's the hunters. Because they're out there, they're relying on this in one way, shape, or form. They're working in it all the time. They're seeing things firsthand. So if anyone wants it well taken care of, it should be them.
And they know how it works.
Exactly.
Right. That's the other part of it. Like for instance, king crab. There is a size limit of what you're allowed to catch, and that is measured across the back of the crab and not including spines. Okay. So it has to be a certain width, okay, for all the crab.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
People say, oh, that's because that's what the market demands. No. The reason it's done is because in the life of a crab, you're harvesting out a grandpa that's out of the cycle. Right?
They're not making new crabs.
They're not in that. They're not that young male over there doing their thing.
Eating grandpa crabs.
Yeah, we're eating grandpa, right? But that's the idea. You don't destroy the fishery. You're harvesting out something that will not affect that.
That's
right?
a good thing.
That's a great thing.
Yeah.
Right? That's a great thing. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. You know, and when you do catch like, you know, crab with a bunch of eggs and females, you know, get them back in, be nice, you know, all that stuff, right?
You're taking good care of what is...
It's your future.
Your future.
It's your future. Yes.
And that's something I think everyone's got to keep in mind.
Absolutely. Yes.
These guys out here, like if you had to get a message across, I think that's part of it, is these guys out here like yourself know what's going on, and maybe we should be listening to them more. People like yourself, the people who are out there, and the people who it affects, instead of, you know, scientists or lobbyists, and they don't seem to be really putting your voices out there.
No, not at all.
And that's something I was excited to bring you on for, because I think that is important for other people to be able to hear, you know, right from the horse's mouth, so to speak, what is going on with commercial fishing, instead of, you know, newspaper articles and talking heads and people who just aren't involved in it.
Yeah, because it's across the board. It's all the West Coast and the East Coast. It's the same government agencies monitoring all of that, National Marine Fisheries or NOAA, or some cases it's the state, but the state still coordinates with the feds, right, on what they're doing.
Exactly.
Right? But it's the same everywhere. It's the fact that I don't understand what's wrong with saying, hey, we want to do a survey. We're going to hire you. Please go find whatever we're trying to find. That's what you do. Yeah. I'm not a scientist. I can't science.
You can't science.
I can't science. No. Okay.
But you can fucking fish.
But I can fucking fish. So why don't you hire me to go get what you want and let me do it the way I know how to do it, not the way you as a scientist want to do it. That don't work.
Yeah.
If it worked, you'd be an awesome fisherman. Right? If you could just zoom right out and land on them. Wow.
Well, and if we let people who are the experts do what they're the experts at, and, you know, if I think they... So basically what you're trying to say is get more input, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, all the input.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because that's what I do.
Yep.
My whole life, or the vast majority of it, is catch crab. Yeah. What's weird is that in Russia, we had scientists on the boat, okay? Mm-hmm. They would come up and say, big problem. And when they put the word big in front of problem, it's a big problem.
We have big fucking problem.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, all right, what's the problem? They're like, we catching no samka, no females. Yeah. I'm like, well, I can't sell females, so I'm not catching females. I don't want females. Oh, well, we need females. Okay, we can do that. Yeah. So we stack 10 pots on the boat. I drive over 20 miles, splash them in the water. A couple days later, come back, full of female king crab. They're like, perfect, everything good. Yeah, woo, fishery strong. So Russia gets it. Yeah. What the fuck is that? They get it. They're like, yeah, whatever. You know what you're doing? Make it happen. Oh, right on.
So these are like the Russian scientists or the Russian
Yes.
observers?
Yeah, Russian scientists. We didn't have observers. They have they have fish cops, right? But I'm in Russia, so the fish cops have already been paid off before they even get on the boat. Before they even get on board,
Okay.
right? They get on board, they spend generally 3 to 5 days with the Russian captain that's on there.
Yeah.
They stay in his room, they get fucking hammered, right? He gets off the boat, he got a personal $5,000,
Yeah.
new rain gear, and probably more than likely he's going to take one of the big tubs of ice cream.
Yeah.
He's going to take that too. Yeah.
Fuck it.
Ice cream is the one thing on every boat I've ever worked on anywhere in the world. Hey, I'm going to the store. Any guys want anything? Ice cream.
Huh.
Okay, gotcha. Anything else? Nope. you know, get whatever.
It's fucking
Make
ice
sure you
cream.
get some fucking ice cream though.
No shit.
They're on it. They love I don't know. Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
But it was it's kind of funny, like do the Russians almost seem to do it better? Manage their fishery better?
Yes.
Okay.
If you implemented
crooked?
it's
Or is it
crooked.
okay.
If you implemented the way they do their scientific stuff here,
Okay.
yes. But you can manipulate that system big time,
Yeah.
right? So it's the same as us. The government says, hey, we're going to allot, 40 million pounds of king crab. If you want to buy it, you got to come to Moscow and you got to buy your share of the quota in cash.
Oh, wow.
So now that limits the players,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we're down to the oligarchs because that's nobody else, right? So they buy the quota, right? The guy I worked for, the last guy, we started with one boat, built him up to 14 boats, 4 cargo ships, and a tanker.
Jesus, it's like a navy.
And we did everything offshore, delivered the crab, everything off there. So the freighter would come in, you'd offload the crab,
Yeah.
take all your supplies back, they would leave. The tanker would come in, tow you, float the fuel line back, fill you up with fuel, and you're fishing,
Jesus.
right? And
It's efficient.
And very, right?
Yeah.
Very efficient, right? To run all that, about 100 million to run all that. Pay the crews, the fuel, all that, about 100 million. The crab proceeds, 800 million. So he's putting
What?
5 to 7 in his pocket.
That is a fuck ton of money.
The last guy was oil and gas and lumber before
Yeah.
I even got involved. He wanted to be a fisherman or do the crab thing, and my phone rang and he's like, hey, you come here, maybe speak me, and maybe because I worked on the Kamchatka side first,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
On the
yeah.
Alaska side.
Yeah.
This is entirely on the other side, the Barents Sea, and I hadn't been over there yet.
Yeah.
So my name got out there, and I'm like, yeah, I'll come and sit down with you. We can,
Yeah. Yeah.
talk about it and everything. I spent 7 years with him, liked him. One of the only Russians I worked for that when you shook his hand, he said he would do it, he did it. He was honest,
Yeah.
right?
That's
But-
a goddamn good thing.
Yeah, he was good. I enjoyed all that over there in Russia. It was a blast.
So, with all of this experience in fishing in Russia, fishing in Alaska for a lot of years, what do you think? I mean, to kind of round this all off, to finish this off, you're one of the old guys, the old veterans in it. What do you think the next few years are going to look like for Alaskan king crab? I mean, because I want some, and I don't want to pay that much. Just my own selfish reasons.
I hear you. It is good.
What's
It is
your
delicious.
crystal ball say on it?
I would say that we're still going to struggle. They're still going to lowball, right?
Yeah.
Even though those guys went out, most of them did 10 days at the most, came back in, caught their quota, done.
10 days.
Right? 10 days.
Jeez.
You know,
That's a whole
fishery's terrible though, right? It's horrible.
for a year.
Yeah, that's it. It's
That's
over
their
for the
quota
whole
for a year.
For the whole year.
10 days.
10 days.
That's incredible.
Right? Yeah. You
And
put,
that's all that fucking boat's
so-
used for?
yes, a handful.
Yeah.
And some of the other ones do tendering, which is in the summertime you go and
Yeah.
tender for the salmon fishery,
Yeah, yeah.
right? You do that. And that's guaranteed contract, and it's usually 3 months, and then you crab fish, and then that's it, right? But still, those boats you're going to put, majority of them, you're going to put at least 15,000 gallons of fuel on it to go do anything.
Yeah.
So 15 times $5,
That's a lot.
right?
That's a lot of fucking gas.
That's just to leave the dock to go do something, right?
Jesus.
And Mr. Owner guy that's got it up front.
Yeah.
There's no like, I'll pay you later.
Yeah.
Putting $7,000 worth of food on there,
Yeah.
for your crew
Yeah.
for a 3-week trip.
Yeah.
You got bait. You're going to spend another 12,000 or so on bait.
And that's all right off the top.
That
That's
comes up.
before you've made one.
Food, fuel, and bait, and taxes. And if you got a lease fee, that comes on too. Right?
So these guys struggle.
Absolutely.
And you don't, without some big changes, you don't see it getting any better.
Absolutely not. Nope.
Yes.
It's got to the point now that it's having a hard time recovering.
Yeah.
It's always been able to before recover and get better, right? Because it's all cyclical, right? Everything in life is, right? Most
in a
fish are
cycle.
6-year cycle, 7-year cycle. It's good. 3 years later, it's bad. 3 years later, it's good again, right? That's, crab are strong, cod are down. Cod are strong, crab are down,
Yeah.
right? So, but when you're not giving it the chance because other fisheries are involved in your fishery that shouldn't be,
Yeah.
10 days, it's over. So now we have the entire rest of the year for the crab to recover.
Yeah.
Well, that would be true, except for now we have the trawl fleet
the bycatch.
that's going to go in and mess with them. So they're not going to recover and they're not going to be strong because they're involved in areas they shouldn't even be in.
Yeah.
The whole thing, like they have sea lion rookeries in Alaska. Okay.
Yeah.
What that is, a designated spot. All the boats run with AIS, right? So the government follows all the boats.
They can see them.
They know instantly. If you even swerve into the sun or into the rookery, right, like a little bit,
Yeah.
and come out, $2,500 ticket immediately. Okay,
Jeez.
right away.
Yeah.
The rookeries were designed to keep the trawlers from getting all the sea lions in their nets. There are no sea lions at any of the sea lion rookeries because sea lions, as with other animals,
Yeah.
used to be a lot of feed here. Now there's not. Now they're about 40 miles over that way because that's where the food is. But those rookeries still exist. We're still going to target boats that even venture in there.
Yeah.
They'll even give you shit.
Just seems arbitrary.
Yeah.
Once again, just another.
Let's say you're on a small boat and weather comes up. You need to hide. And it's behind a rookery. Oh, doesn't matter. You're getting the ticket. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was for the safety of my crew and my vessel. I had no choice.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You're getting the ticket.
Yeah. They don't. They don't. Give
They
a
don't
shit.
care.
They don't give
They
a
don't
shit.
care.
Yeah.
None of them care. Like, what is actually, like National Marine Fisheries, what do they actually do for the fishermen?
Exactly.
They are against everything we do. They don't help you. They don't do any good at all that I see.
Well, and not even helping the environment
No.
in the process. Like
No.
you could see if there was another side to the. Okay, we have to be there for, I guess, the environment or the fishery, the physical fishery,
Right.
and the fishermen are kind of the other side of this. So it's a balancing act, but it's not even that.
Right.
From what you're saying, it's just like arbitrary, kind of useless and not helping anybody out.
And it's across the board, right? Like we live here in Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever, can you buy lobster anywhere around here?
No.
We live in Florida. Why not? Right?
I don't know.
Why not? There's a huge fishery in the Keys and Miami.
Yeah,
All goes to China.
really.
Red lobster gets theirs from Honduras.
We don't buy our own lobster.
We don't even buy our own stuff, and that's a problem, right? You're importing all these other places for money to be made by whoever, right?
Yeah.
But yet your own people are suffering because it's going somewhere else,
Yeah.
you know? And it's not, the whole system is messed up. We should be able to get lobster anywhere in the state. It's
Yeah.
one of our premier things we have.
Yeah, it's plentiful.
Right. It's super plentiful.
Delicious, too.
Yeah. 4 or 5 million pounds a year.
Jeez.
That's what's caught, right? That's quite a bit.
See,
But
I
the
don't think a lot of Floridians
Chinese have
realize
moved
that.
in. They're buying it all. The 3 major buyers down through the Keys are all Chinese.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're buying right now $9 a pound. King crab, those guys just got done up there. Red king crab. What do you think they got? What do you think the boat got? $8.
$8. Okay. I was going for
$8.
20.
$8,
Jeez.
right? And then who gets it next? Then the cannery gets it, right? Or the fish house.
Yeah.
Now they bought it for $8. Now they sold it to Johnny Broker for like 10, 11.
Okay.
Then Johnny Broker turns around and sells it to retail for 20, 30. That's the guy that makes the money, the broker. He's the one that makes the money.
Yeah.
And by the time it gets to the grocery store, it's been through 3 different hands to get there.
Jeez.
And that's why it's so high.
Jeez.
Norwegian government does their own. So they work it backwards. They say, okay, codfish, end result is this price. How many people are involved? 4, this price divided by 4.
Yeah.
That's what everybody gets.
Jeez.
Simple.
Yeah.
Works good. Even the fishermen.
Common sense.
Yeah. What is that? Common?
No.
Common sense.
We don't want to talk
I
about
heard about that before.
it. Yeah. Long time ago.
Yeah, it was
Read about it in a book.
My dad talked about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being one of the good ones.
Yeah.
I mean,
I try.
the old veteran in it, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks
It
for
was
talking
fun. I
about
enjoyed
this.
it.
It's like I said, I think it's something important, and it's a story that needed to be heard.
Right. I agree.
So thanks for coming on, being anonymous,
Okay.
telling us the insides of it.
Yeah, no worries.
We appreciate it, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Till next time, stay out of trouble. We'll see you in church.